Hello everyone and welcome back to the Good to Watch channel. My name is Moji. In the past few years, Bitcoin was even better in yen terms than in dollars. If you're Japanese and you have Bitcoin, you're living like a king or queen compared to most people around you. You might have the same thing happen if we get that other kind of shift. I'm pretty optimistic about Bitcoin, and the shortest time frame I gave was maybe 2 years. In the next 2 years, I think Bitcoin will go up in value. That being said, I look ahead a few years and say, well, I think global liquidity is going to be higher. I think Bitcoin will be worth more in a few years. The price of Bitcoin dropped a lot on Sunday. It first went below $60,000 and then quickly hit $58,300. The overall value of the cryptocurrency market dropped to $2.06 trillion earlier in the day, which is a drop of 3.18% in just 24 hours. In the same time frame, Bitcoin lost 3.8% of its value. Crypto fans have had a lot of different responses to this market volatility. Lyn Alden, an investment expert, talked to podcaster Peter McCormick about Bitcoin's volatility, liquidity, and what it can do in times of disaster. She talked about Bitcoin's long-term promise as a solution, not just a way to stay safe. Alden talked about how small things, like a small rise in train fares in China, can show bigger problems in society and cause large-scale riots. Alden said it was like the US, the UK, and other parts of Europe, where people's extra income has stayed the same or gone down over the last 10 years, making them feel uncertain about their future finances. She said that Bitcoin could be useful for more than just protecting people from economic instability. It could help solve these deeper problems. If you want to see more crypto and Bitcoin news, check out the daily 5-minute crypto newsletter before the rest of the movie. It's a great look at on-chain crypto data and splits, and the best part is that it's free. In short, they'll talk about what experts think will happen, how on-chain crypto data is broken down, and any breaking news you need to know. To become a better crypto trader right now, click the first link in the description and enter your email address. Over 50,000 other people have already done the same thing. A few years ago, there were huge protests in Chile. The cause was that these prices went up by about a nickel like a train. What was that? But yeah, of course, that means it wasn't the nickel. It wasn't the nickel, the nickel was. This thing that made people's already built-up anger explode. I believe that's what we're seeing now in some wealthy countries. It's happening in the US, the UK, and some parts of mainland Europe. Along with that, I saw this chart. Michael Green was the one who told them. It was mostly America, but it was real money left over after paying for food, housing, transportation, and other things. And it shows that it's been going down in a kind of sideways way for about 10 years now. The daily affordability and quality of life for most people went from structurally getting better to not really doing great. It's also the first time in a long time that life expectancy is actually going down in the United States, which is a very bad sign. The UK and the US both have trade deficits, which is a problem. It sounds like a bit of howling is coming from your industry base. You may have noticed that, and it seems like working class people in industrial towns are having a harder time. What is the view that is similar to the US? More and more people said something was wrong. Not really sure what it's like, and they don't know what the processes are. This makes people less trusting of institutions in the US, the UK, and other places. There are people who say, I think I did a good job. I believe the news is telling the truth, or I trust the medical professionals, whatever the case may be. Overall, trust is falling to very low levels. This is because there is more polarization, more anger, and economic frustration. On top of that, there are real policies that people are criticizing, and they are right to do so. While immigration is generally a good thing, some people may become worried when a lot of people come to a country all at once and don't integrate. It can also be used in bad ways. But then people start to wonder, what's going on socially while all these other economic things are going on in the end? People will take out their anger and hate on others, which is sad because some of these problems are hard to fix. I connect some of it to broken money, but not all of it. Yes, but if you look at it over a long period of time, like decades, we use more energy per person as a species. That's good. Our tech is a lot better now than it was in the past. Even though some of it is bad for us, we do have better technology now than we did in the past. This is true even if you're not in one of the big countries. Our money isn't as good as it used to be. But money is bad in general. Like that one place where technology hasn't really made things better. That leads to all these imbalances and one part of the economy gets sucked dry while another thing gets an unfair advantage. Things then go back and forth, and people don't really know how to frame or contextualize these big forces that happen around them. Arguments about money matters are a lot harder to have than arguments about things like social wars. So either the fiscal policy or just the state of the economy as a whole when things get more complicated. Not as many people can explain it. As their ticket dealt with things that were more public and social, that's where a lot of anger is shown. A lot of it is because money is broken. I also believe that the energy program is flawed. As you know, some countries have not been good at managing their energy. The way they think makes them believe that carbon emissions are the only thing that counts. One number is the only thing that they try to use to describe everything. If you ask most people, they'll say they want to keep the places they live healthy. You need clean water and air. Of course, but a lot of leaders boil it down to one number, which they then use to guide all of their energy policy. At the end of the day, people are ready to take it out if their real standard of living is going down or their energy costs are going up. Lyn Alden says that Bitcoin is a good choice during times of trouble because it is liquid all the time. But its price changes a lot, and people don't always know how safe they think it is because Bitcoin is still pretty new and the market doesn't fully understand it yet. Alden said that Bitcoin's value usually goes up during crises, though it depends on the type of crisis. Alden explained that there are different types of crises that either help or hurt liquidity. He said that most crises hurt liquidity, which causes people to sell Bitcoin at first. She used the American regional bank crisis of 2023 as an example of an event that helped liquidity because Bitcoin did well after the initial shock. Alden said that Bitcoin should be looked at over a 4-year period as an investment option for the long term rather than just a hedge. In addition, she said that Bitcoin's value can change based on the currency. For example, Japanese investors have benefited from its rise against the yen. Let's listen to the conversation again to get more from Lyn Alden. Offers 24/7 liquidity, so on a Sunday night in America time while it's Monday morning in Japan, right? Before they blow up, As a safety measure, holding Bitcoin means you can get cash at any time, whether you need it or want it, that you don't have with almost any other asset. The price isn't great for those who are still keeping, which is the bad news. If you like to buy when the price drops, Bitcoin is a good investment. However, I don't think of it as an off-market asset in the way that portfolio managers might. This is because the price only goes up during crises, which is still not well understood. Just so you know, there is sometimes advantage in the space. One thing I like to point out is that there are pro-liquidity crises and anti-liquidity crises. Most crises are anti-liquidity, which means, from what I could tell, Bitcoin's biggest link is its availability, and during a crisis, it's not good for liquidity, so Bitcoin will be one of the first things sold. This is because, as the saying goes, you sell what you have to, not what you want to, especially if the market is open 24 hours a day, 7 days